Hi, this is Kathy Weymouth from Two in the Temple, and we are in a series called Too High Expectations of Yourself. And this is actually part 6. We're dealing with the last question that I asked for you to reflect on in part 1. So let me just review those 5 questions real quick. Do you struggle with knowing that you are a human being with limitations? Do you struggle knowing that you cannot be superwoman, superhuman all the time in every aspect? Is that hard for you to grasp that and accept it? Okay, second question was, what do you do with the emotions that rise up when you fail to meet your own expectations? Like, how do you handle those? And how can you live a more peaceful life if you have such high expectations of yourself? Then question number 3 was, would you like your life to be better? Would you like to have such an experience of always being frustrated with yourself? Would you like that to go away? Would you like to have more peace? Would you like to be more accepting of who you are and how you're wired and how you're made? Would you like to have less emotional angst about the fact that you're not meeting your expectations? And then it was actually in part 5 video, we dealt with the 4th question. Would you like to change? And I really encouraged you that, yes, I believe people can change. Change is often slow, but it is possible. And I gave you some suggestions in part 5, how you could actually change. Okay, so today we're going to deal with the last question. This is the last one of the series that happened just because I asked 5 questions. And then I was like, oh, I guess I'm going to have to answer each one or at least encourage you in each one. All right, so this is, how is all this related to boundaries? How is this related to boundary setting? And that's like my passion right now, self-care and boundary setting. So how does having high expectations of yourself relate to boundaries or the lack of boundaries? So I was just brainstorming that, one big area where people lack having healthy boundaries is how they allow others to treat them. Like, do you allow people to treat you with disrespect? Now, I don't mean like an occasional, but I'm talking about like repeated. Do you have someone in your life and they repeatedly respect you, and you allow that to happen and you just let it continue? Or how about, do you have anybody who's actually harassing you and you don't know how to address it? You don't know how to deal with it. So it's an ongoing problem. What about, does anybody put you down and criticize you? Does anyone put you down for making mistakes and making it feel like you're inferior for the mistakes that you make? Okay, so why am I asking about other people? Because this is a boundary issue that can be addressed when it has to do with other people, but it also applies to you. How do you treat yourself? Because mistreatment is a boundary issue. Do you treat yourself with disrespect? Do you harass yourself? Do you put yourself down? Okay, these are boundary issues. These are things that are not appropriate to allow into your life, whether it's someone else is doing it to you or you're doing it to yourself. So I just want to encourage you that bashing yourself and beating yourself up because you're not meeting your expectations is not a healthy way to approach life. It doesn't bring you a peaceful life. It brings you a life full of shame and guilt. So let's talk about one of my favorite scriptures is love your neighbor as yourself. And I often say, okay, well, how do you love your neighbor? Well, usually, for the most part, hopefully, most people, you treat them with respect, with kindness, and with grace. And there might be an occasional person who's really hard for you, then it's hard for you to do that, to treat them with that, but you endeavor to be a kind person. You endeavor to be loving, okay? But what if you treated your neighbor or anyone in your life the way you treat yourself? Well, you're supposed to treat your neighbor as you treat yourself. But if you beat yourself up and you're critical and all of that, then you're saying that, well, that's the way I should treat my neighbor. Okay, no. You got to treat yourself with love and respect and dignity. Then you're able to treat others with love and respect and dignity. Okay, so this is all related to having a lack of boundaries. And I want to say that if you struggle with the way you treat yourself, why don't you just take a little bit of reflection? Like, where did that come from? Get to your why. I love going down deep. Go down deep to the why. Why? And you know what I heard this one time? Ask 5 levels of why. Like, why do I disrespect myself? And if you come up with an answer of, oh, I think it's because of this, then go, well, why does that happen? And then you come up with an answer. And then you go to the why of the second thing, and you go down to the third level. And then you go to the why of the third and fourth. Ask 5 levels of why, and you'll probably get to the root, the real root of why you act the way you do. So I want to encourage you to not mistreat yourself. I want to encourage you to treat yourself the way you treat someone in your life who you love and respect. Look at the way you treat other people in loving ways, and then treat yourself in that similar fashion. I want to encourage you to extend grace. Give yourself some grace, like when you make mistakes and you're not high performing. You just say, it's okay. I'm not superhuman. I can't be perfect at everything. I can lower my expectations in this area as long as it's a safe area, right? So let me just look at my notes real quick. So yeah, do you beat yourself up, or do you want to learn now to extend this kindness, grace, and love? Kindness, grace, and love to yourself. So part of the way to do that is to say, you know what, I can lower my expectations. So yesterday, I'm starting to laugh because I just remembered it happened yesterday. One of my piano students, we were talking about this concept. I mean, it's going over now. I'm talking to my piano students about it and my piano moms about having high expectations. I think a lot of people struggle with it. And so I was saying to my piano student, you know, it's okay to do grade B work. Grade B is good. And I said that to you in an earlier video. Grade B is good work. It's good enough, you know. If it's an area that is not a safety issue, it's okay that you don't do it to grade A level. To grade B is work, is good enough. That's good enough. So anyway, I just want to encourage you that if you want to make changes in having high expectations of yourself, I want to say a lot of times the best way to get to have change happen is to be in relationship. Get a coach, get some friend to help you to make goals and get some feedback, give feedback. And I also believe in connecting with the divine power. Like, we are all wired to be spiritual beings. So I think those 2 relationships will really help you if you want to make changes. And check in the details. I can help you if you want to connect with me as a coach. And we can brainstorm how you can make change in this area or any emotional area in your life, or even physical things. Okay, so this is Kathy Weymouth. I hope this series has really blessed you. Okay, tunethetemple.com.